Jeez, bro. This isn't rocket science. Russell, what's up? The South Tampa one. But we could do it from your office, right? So it's just online. Yeah, just click on the link, pop on a headset if you have it, and that's it. Pretty simple. We'll take it from there. I originally put it in the email that I sent to you, but normally a headset mic is what you want, so it doesn't pick up any background noise because you want clear audio because it's an audio recording. You can even use the one that you use for like your iPhone or whatever. Lots of guys use that, like your earbuds or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, sounds good. All right, bye. You so funny. What's up, Russell? Can you hear me? Nope.
Hey,
Hey, bro, there you are.
okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, good audio. Video looks good. You look good. You sound good on a Monday. Come on, that's pretty impressive.
Did you build a little studio in the office? Looks
I,
good.
I did, yeah. We took one of the executive suites and I made a little studio. Got all like the official sound equipment and everything. This is for
Wow.
like in-person interviews, but I'm
It's
finding this platform I can do interview anyone anywhere in the world and it records the video, the audio, separates the files. It's actually easier than all this stuff.
That's fantastic, man. How you been?
Really well. Yeah, life has been good. People
Good.
have asked, like, how is 2017 for you, Joseph? Was it a good year or a bad year, right? That's the common question going around. And I was like, 2017 has been a year of transformation. It's just like,
Beautiful.
yeah, man, we've gone through like, I've gone through it. My business partner, Jason's gone through it. It's like, God's just transforming our lives from the inside out. It's been super painful, exhausting. It feels like overwhelming. It's like you finally conquer something and then there's the next thing, you know?
Yeah,
But I wouldn't change it for anything. It's been fantastic.
that's excellent. I'm happy to hear that. That's good.
Yeah. What about you? What's going on there?
Yeah, fast and furious, moving right along, growing the company. Let me get this ear thing out. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Um, yeah, no, it's been a great year. I mean, we've got, let's see.
Actually, you might need it back in. Your volume went
Oh, you
down.
know what? I took out the wrong one. Hold on.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right, cool.
Yeah.
So growing the company, we've got 11 internal employees right now.
Wow.
I know, right?
Seriously, dude.
So,
Yeah,
I
we'll
mean,
talk about that. Like, you were like zero. You were it.
well, I mean, you saw it.
I
You,
saw it, man.
you saw the beginning.
I'm sure Harry's very excited and happy.
Yeah, he is. He's happy. He's not obviously he's still not here as much, so
Sure.
not as intimate with the growth of the company and the um, what goes on here every day. But no, he's very satisfied.
Yeah.
So
It was a slow start, right? You thought that,
yeah.
he thought that, right? It's
Well,
like,
I didn't. It was do or die for me. I didn't know. I mean, we could talk about that, but yeah, I mean, it's
yeah,
knock on wood. Today's good.
you had a burn the ships moment.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right. Well, let's get into it. And we're just
Okay.
going to talk about your entrepreneurial journey. We're going to drop some value and wisdom on our audience. The best way, Russell, for you to add value to this audience is my audience is, I call them Startup Nation. And it's literally the 90% of entrepreneurs who are struggling to make their first $100,000. And many of them pretending they're actually doing better than they are
Mhm.
when meanwhile they're struggling, right? And we've all done it, right? So the way you can add the most value is by being real, transparent, raw, sharing the struggles that you've had, say over the past 12 months to 24 months, and really getting into the ugly, right? The voices that you had in your head, right? They say you're not good enough, it's not going to work, it's going to fail, all that stuff. That's where the audience will really connect and go, wow, this guy Russell's really successful. And he has those same voices. He struggles the same way I'm struggling. Maybe I can do this. Do you get that?
Perfect. Yeah, yeah. Tell me something real quick.
Sure.
How big was the office space that I had with you? Like dimensions?
Dang. Trying to think.
Like guesstimation?
Say 12 by 14.
Okay. All right, cool.
Yep. Oh, so you're going to use square footage as a sign of growth. I get it.
Well, I mean,
I went from 4 square foot box I couldn't move
well,
to.
I want to give them the visualization of
I
how I
like it.
started. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
I like it.
I'm not going to share where I am now, but just like, how I started. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, I love it. All right, fantastic. All right, let's get out the housekeeping. And here's what we're standing for. We're standing for, one person having a transformed life by listening to your story. That's it. And if we've done that, we've added and contributed to the world, right? So,
love it.
all right, cool. So housekeeping. Russell, just to clarify, you grant me, Joseph Warren, unlimited worldwide distribution rights to this audio and its content, correct?
Correct.
Awesome. Okay, we'll start in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to First 100K, the show where I interview successful entrepreneurs about how they made their first $100,000, digging deep to find the tools, tactics, and superpowers that you can use to go from A to 100K. I'm your host, your coach, your friend, Joseph Warren. I'm also the owner of two co-working spaces here in Tampa, Florida, where I have the privilege of helping hundreds of entrepreneurs to start, launch, and grow their businesses. Today, we have as our fearless, courageous entrepreneur guest, one of my former members. I've watched him grow right through the ranks of what we do and have massive success. We have Russell Liebowitz on the show. And Russell is the CEO and founder of Broadstaff, which connects talent with enterprise and government entities. And what I really like about what they do specifically in a very crowded marketplace is that the average time to fill an open requisition in most cases takes companies over 30 days, right, Russell? And you take pride in fulfilling for your clients job orders in 5 to 7 days from intake to onboarding. So really you're a professional matchmaker and you're fantastic at what you do and you found your niche in that. So Russell, welcome to the show. Go ahead and fill in some of the gaps in that intro, would you?
Wow, Joseph, thank you so much. That was a fantastic intro. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Broadstaff, we provide companies and people a true connection and a path in life. We work with companies all across the United States, specific to the wireless telecommunications industry. And, in its simplest fashion, we do staffing and recruiting. As you may know it as headhunting is a common term that people know, or the temp business. And it's been been very fortunate. We've found a niche in what we do, and the supply and demand is fantastic right now. It's definitely a candidate-driven market. There's not enough jobs, and there's too many. A lot of jobs and not enough candidates to find right now, which is a great recipe for us. So appreciate the intro, Joseph.
Absolutely. So Russell, let's get right into it. Take a minute and share with us something personal that very few people in your business life know about you.
Wow, that's a great question. Definitely evokes emotion right from the beginning. So my story is pretty fascinating. So I'll go back maybe 8 years ago. I had my own company, staffing company, that was doing very successful when I was in my 20s and 30s. And then in 2008, when the grand old recession came, I definitely suffered like most people did who own small businesses, and had to close the doors. So since 2008, it's been an eye-opening experience for me. It's been an uphill climb. And, I will also share with you that I went through some family matters as far as my wife getting breast cancer during that period of time. Lost my business, and had tremendous financial hardship. So people would say a lot for one person to handle, but I never quit. I never gave up. I always knew I had something in me to persevere, to be an entrepreneur. That's what I'd love to do. And so I started Broadstaff 2.5 years ago with my back against the wall, and I would not take no or failure for an answer. And hopefully that's enough personal information that you guys can use from the get-go here.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks for going there with us, right? Because you're sharing some stuff that many guys don't want to share, right? You're talking about life, right? How life hits you upside the head, and sometimes you're out of control, right? It's in control. And you feel like you're like out in the waves, just getting tossed around, and it's like there's nothing to grab onto, right? So thanks for going there. Before we jump into that story, let's get down to business. Our audience loves to know, how much revenue did you guys gross last year approximately in the past 12 months? Yeah,
absolutely. So we started the company 2.5 years ago. Our first year, so 2016, we could say our first official fiscal year, we did about 2.6 million. In revenue. And then we are on target now for doing about 3.5 million in 2017.
That's fantastic. And what about the first 12 months in?
As far as revenue?
Yeah.
Yeah. First 12 months in, no, it was around $2 million.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. Got it. All right. So we all love to, listen to the wisdom of like mega millionaires and billionaires, but we struggle to relate to them because 90% of entrepreneurs are struggling to make their first 100K, right? But on social media, we're showing the highlights of our life. We're showing how successful we are, right? But we're not showing the struggles. So what I'd like you to do, Russell, is really just take a minute, probably 2 to 3 minutes, and take us back to that time when you were literally struggling, right? You burnt all the ships, so to speak, and you're in this. You said your back's against the wall. There was no quitting. You had to go forward. That was the only direction. And tell us that story. Paint us a vivid picture.
Well, I can remember my last job where I had to work for somebody, driving to Jacksonville, Florida in 2015. That's where our corporate headquarters was. And I remember my boss sitting me down and letting me go and telling me my position was eliminated. And that was a long drive back home to Tampa from Jacksonville, about, 3-hour drive, a lot of time for me to think. And I remember that drive because I told myself, I will never, ever work for somebody else again. I will control my own destiny. And I sat in the downstairs room of my townhouse on the computer, diving back into what I knew best, which was staffing and recruiting. And I started researching different industries on my computer, my Apple desktop downstairs by myself. And I started making phone calls. I started cold calling into companies and asking if I could help them fill their jobs. And, I would say 20 phone calls, maybe 1 or 2 were successful to where I felt like there was something there. And then I decided, I'm going to go for this. And that's what I did. I jumped into it, went into an office executive suite environment, 12 by 14 room, which you're very familiar with, Joseph, and launched the company. Didn't know what to expect, but it went above and beyond my expectations. And I'd love to share with you kind of what I had to do in the first couple of months there to get to the numbers where I'm at today.
Yeah, please go ahead and share that.
Blood, sweat, and tears, and the shingles. I actually got the shingles at 40 years old, 3 months into my job, 3 months into this business, because I had so much on the line for myself. I would not, I would not take no for an answer. So, I was in the office 6:30 a.m. I didn't go home till 8 o'clock at night. I made the phone calls. I had conversations with people. And I just persevered. For me, it was 7 days a week. I didn't take Saturday and Sunday off. I remember every Saturday and Sunday when my friends were out having fun, I was at Starbucks on my computer researching, connecting with people on LinkedIn. I was relentless. Like nobody was going to stop me. That's what it took, for me to get to where I was going to be. I had never worked so hard in my entire life.
What do you think was the fuel that you had going for you? What was the fire in your belly pushing you forward?
I had a lot to prove. Losing my job was I took a hit in pride and ego. I felt like people doubted me. I felt like I was doubting myself, and I didn't like that feeling, because I wasn't raised that way. I'm a competitor. I like to win, and I knew if the guy next to me could wake up in the morning and be successful and earn a good income, I could do it too. There was no reason why I couldn't do it. And, that was the fuel for my fire.
Yeah, I get that. So one thing that's a common theme on this show, Russell, is how as entrepreneurs, as leaders, we have to really get clear on what is our superpower and then delegate everything else out to others and really just create and build and develop that muscle. What would you consider to be your superpower in what you're doing now?
As it pertains to what I do in business, we're building relationships, and sales is definitely my superpower. That's what I excel at. I have a way with people. I love talking to people. I love helping them. I'm not very salesy. I try to give people things and don't expect anything in return. But as you'll see, things come back to you in return when you have that type of mentality. So for me, I guess my superpower would be really relationship building.
Got it. Describe to us, say, the biggest fail in the first 12 months of this business, that you had the biggest fail, the biggest mistake, the biggest setback, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Hiring the right people to grow my business. That was a little tricky in the beginning. I definitely failed the first, actually my first hire was fantastic. She's with us today. She's a leader in my company. But after her, I didn't have the best of hires. So trying to identify the right person that would fit into my business and help us grow the business was challenging.
I'm hearing it, and I'm gonna call it out, right? Not with your permission, of course, but I'm hearing it's like you're a talent matchmaker, and yet, you struggled, your own words, to find talent for your own company.
Yeah.
Tell us why that is.
It's a great observation. Yeah, I often scratch my head wondering the same thing because as I sit here today, I'm still trying to scale and grow our company, and identifying the right DNA for this business is tough. It takes a special person. I have to hire an entrepreneur, not an employee, and that's
Mm,
what's been challenging.
mm.
There's a lot of people with the employee mindset, more so than the entrepreneur. So that's been the biggest challenge for me.
Yeah, I get that. And what a thin line, right? Because you got to hire this entrepreneur type person who is also okay with working for your company
Right.
and not the, right. So there's the rub. There's the thin line. So I get that. What fear would you say was holding you back the most in the early days?
Yeah. Of course, fear of failure, but to break that down even further, I was scared. I was scared out of my mind because, if broad staff didn't work, I kept seeing what's going to happen. Well, I can't go back and work for somebody, because that just is not me. I was never happy doing that. I did it to pay the bills, but I was never happy. So, yeah, fear was a big driver for me. I wasn't complacent at all, but I was working in fear, which for me was kind of good.
Mm.
So I guess, the fear of failure, the fear of having to go back and work for a company, report to a boss, I just did not want to do that. I was never happy doing that.
I get that. So, Startup Nation, as you're listening to Russell Liebowitz, who's the founder CEO of Broadstaff here in Tampa, Florida, doing several million a year, just over 2.5 years ago, he launched this company. He's talking about his fears and what he wrestled with, and that the fear of failure, the fear of having to go and work for somebody else in the 9 to 5 was the very thing that he leveraged to fuel his success in this business. And I think that's the secret formula, right? So many of us as entrepreneurs, Russell, we try to deny that this fear or act like there is none or just say, oh, I'm conquering the fear, get it out of my head and block it. And I don't think that's the recipe. I think what you're saying is the recipe is to acknowledge the fear that's present, to embrace the fear, stand in it, and then use it as your own fuel and fire. What shows up for you in that?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think fear can be healthy if you use it in the right way. Complacency, not so much. Don't ever get complacent. I come to work every day as if I have nothing in my pocket, as if I have no accounts. That's how I think, because I know that complacency kills. I was taught that years ago. But working in fear isn't so bad. I think fear can be a dirty word at times. But as it pertains to you starting a business and growing a business, you want to be a little fearful because, your competition's out there maybe working harder than you. You should be fearful of that. So that's a good driver, in my opinion.
I get that. So you just mentioned like you come into work every day acting almost as if it's day one and you have zero accounts, zero revenue, and you got to build, build, build. How do you enjoy the reward and the victories of your current successes when you're coming in with that mentality?
Well, I still love hunting for the business, closing a deal. That's my passion. I love doing that. So I have my sales hat on every day, even though I'm functioning as a CEO and a business owner of this company. Of course, the monetary benefits I always like. I'm getting a little more freedom now to travel a little bit and enjoy things that I couldn't afford maybe 2 years ago.
Hmm.
So that's been the result of maybe appreciation of the hard work that I put in.
I get that. What would you say is the best business advice you've received?
Yeah, money comes and money goes. It sounds so simple, but I heard that line, and that's happened to me throughout my life. So that's why I rise and grind every day and work my tail off, because I know this money may not be here down the road. So that's how I think.
Hmm.
I would say I'm not a big person for excuses. One of my colleagues once said to me, results matter, excuses don't. So I've kind of led my company on that premise too. So yeah, I think those two things have really helped me.
I really like that. Money comes and money goes, right? And don't get attached to it, right? Be attached to only one thing, and that's where you're headed,
Yeah.
right? Be committed to where you're headed. The rest is fluid, right? It comes and goes. I love it. Share with us one of your daily habits that has gotten you to where you are today.
Yeah. So, well, first and foremost, every night before I go to bed, I get on my knees and I say a prayer to God, and I thank Him for my health, my family. Um, Fortunate to have what I have today, and obviously for Broadstaff as well. Um, I believe that he is a big reason why I'm where I am today. That's one habit that I have every day. Every morning, I'm an early riser, so I'm up at 4:30 a.m. every morning, and I'm in the gym by 5:30. So I get a good workout in. I clear my head, get ready for the day, kind of recharge my batteries, and I'm off to work. So that's kind of my daily routine. And then, obviously, I'm here at the office every day, and then home to see the family, get dinner with my children, my wife, talk about the day, and get to bed early.
It sounds like your success in business has not jeopardized or replaced or cannibalized your family life and your faith. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's I would say try your best to get a good support system around you as you start your business, as you grow your business, as you're in the middle of this, because it's not easy. And having someone in your life that supports you, that listens to you, that is there for your well-being, at least for me, that really helped.
Yeah. What's one of your favorite websites, apps, or digital resources that have helped you grow your business?
Hands down, LinkedIn. LinkedIn was an absolute game changer for me, for the company. I still invest a good amount of money for my recruiters and my sales folks that are here today. It's helped. I don't know what we do without it, to be honest with you. It's been a phenomenal tool for us to make connections, to find candidates for jobs, and to secure clients.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
And Russell, what's the one thing that you want our audience and Startup Nation to know about being successful in business? What's that one thing?
I would say, look, you got to work hard to achieve your goals. Obviously, no one's going to hand anything to you. I want to go back to me, obviously saying my prayers every night. I will tell you, 2 years into this business, a year into this business, when I was on the verge of closing a big opportunity, I would talk to God. I would ask Him. I would say, please, help me here. Help me. I would ask for these things, but I was very specific in what I wanted. And I got to tell you, it worked. That worked for me on 3 different occasions.
Can you
So
give us an example?
I can. So, and of course I remember this. I had a company in Kansas City that I had cold called, started a relationship. They mentioned to me that they were going to need to hire about 25 people, which is a phenomenal opportunity in our business. At this period of time, I might have made 5 placements. This is a really big deal for us. And weeks went on. It just took a while to cultivate the relationship. I remember being in Austin, Texas for a trade show, and I was getting so close that I dropped to my knees like at 2:00 in the afternoon, and my Airbnb that I was staying at, and I just prayed, and I said, I pray that I can close this business, that you'll be on my side, that you'll help me, you'll be my champion. 1 hour later, I got a phone call from this client in Kansas City telling me they're ready to start the project. I'll never forget it.
Wow. And
Yeah,
you give credit to God in that.
of course, I gave credit to God and everything. Absolutely.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I think something very important to add to that is giving credit to God doesn't mean that Russell didn't go out and do all the work,
of course.
right?
Yeah,
You're out there making it happen, and I think that's what both need to be present. You do the work, you step through the doors, and trust in God for the outcome, right?
absolutely.
Love it, brother. Okay, so this is my favorite part of our little chat here. Welcome to the hustle round. This is where I ask you 12 quick fire questions. You'll have about 3 seconds to answer each. Don't overthink it. Just say the first thing that comes to you. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Russell, what's your favorite sound?
Guitar.
Russell, what's your least favorite sound?
Nails on a chalkboard.
When you were a child, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Professional basketball player.
What are you most afraid of?
Failure.
What did you spend way too much time doing your first year in business?
Playing golf.
What secret fear do you have about people?
Trust.
Got it. What do you wish you had learned sooner in your business?
I would say QuickBooks, managing my accounts receivable, having a good system in place for that.
Yeah, I got that. What is a new habit you want to form?
More reading.
Got it.
Yeah.
And what's a bad habit you want to break?
Being afraid of failure.
So that's a habit. Yeah. Got it. Russell, pick 3 words to describe who you are now.
Passionate, determined, caring.
And pick 3 words to describe who you were back then when you first started in this.
Scared, unsure, nervous.
Imagine sometime in the distant future, and there you are standing in front of your tombstone. Read to us what it says on it.
Oh, what a question. Russell Liebowitz cared about people, cared about his family, gave back to society, and lived a life of fulfillment.
Awesome. And last question. If you could come back to life after you died and tell your family and friends only one piece of advice, what would you say to them?
Live life to the fullest. Don't be scared. Take chances.
Awesome. Russell, what's the best way for our listeners in Startup Nation to get in touch with you?
Yeah, our website is broadstaff.net. My information's on there. I could share my email address if that's suitable.
Whatever you like.
Yeah, sure. I've got a Gmail account. It's RLIE, B as in boy, OW, @gmail.com.
Got it. And is there any project or anything specifically you're working on right now that you want to get the word out to Startup Nation about?
No, we're looking to grow our company and hire some people with some staffing sales background, and also some people that are interested in being a recruiter as their career path. And that's more of an entry-level position. So that's really what I'm tasked with going into 2018, is identifying the right people to help grow the business.
Fantastic. And Startup Nation, if you're resonating with who Russell is as a person, his character, which is clearly showing up on this show, I think, and he's somebody you want to work with or refer business to, get in touch with him. Not only can he help you grow your business, but you'll be helping growing his as well. So Russell, thanks for joining us today, and I wish you peace, love, and superpowers.
Thank you so much, Joseph. Appreciate you having me.
You got it. Cheers. Startup Nation, want to grow your business faster than you ever imagined? Head over to first100k.com for even more tools, tactics, and tricks that you can use to go from A to 100K. I'm Joseph Warren, and you were made for greatness. So stop being a wuss and start being a winner. Have a blessed day, and I'll catch you on the next show. Cheers.
Thing I told you, even there was 3 times when I literally prayed to God for these deals to close, and they closed. I told Danielle every time it happened, I could not believe it. And I've told you I'm not a very religious man. I've gotten more religious,
right?
But I did whatever I could, and that was one thing I put into my daily repertoire was, getting, and you helped me with that too. Believe it or not, you were a big influence of that, of getting God closer.
How so specifically? I
Well, I
don't.
mean, I remember you're the one who told me to be very detailed and specific on what you asked for when you pray,
Yes.
right?
Yes, I remember now.
And I never thought of that because when I did pray, it was very general and kind of surface talk, and I got a little more granular, a little more detailed. And oh my goodness, like things started happening. And no, it was amazing. And that story that I shared when I was in Austin, Texas, I'll never forget it. And it's exactly what happened.
I
So
love it.
yeah,
And thanks for going there in the chat. That takes vulnerability, and you
yeah,
committed to that, right? Being transparent, and you went there with your faith and everything. And I'll tell you what happens when you bring faith into a business conversation. It splits the audience, right? Because it's polarizing based on what's going on in their life, their own preconceptions about religion, past experience, all that. And what it does is it attracts the very people that you want to do business with. It turns them on even more, and they go like right here. I could say you showed up in a way where people would want to work with you.
yeah,
Anybody who's looking for someone to do staffing, they'd be like, okay, that guy, he's real, he's authentic,
yeah,
he's come from the bottom up, right? He's still humble. Anyway, I just want to commend you for that.
yeah. Thank you. Appreciate you. You did a great job, Joseph. I mean, you're like a natural at this. Really great idea.
This is my superpower.
Love it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Good for you.
So I'm going to make a bold request.
Yeah.
Would you be willing, as soon as we shut this off, to do a quick video testimonial about your experience just on the first 100K podcast with Joseph Warren?
Of
And
course. Yeah.
be real. You could say Joseph was an a-hole. I don't like him at all.
Come on.
Whatever you want to
Yeah.
say. But really, just share that experience from a real place. And the audience that would get that would be possible people that I want to interview at
Okay.
really high levels. Maybe they're like, I go on all the podcasts. I'm really not saying yes anymore. And you could really contribute in that way in speaking to them. Hey, this is why you want to. So would you take that on?
Of course I will. Yeah.
That's awesome, brother. And then last question, who in your circle of influencers, people with large followings per se in your circle, do you think would make a good guest on this show?
Oh yeah. I would get Carrie on as soon as possible. She'd be great.
For real?
Yeah.
Carrie that works with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Why
Yeah.
do you
Absolutely.
think she'd be a good guest?
She's an entrepreneur. She owns a business. She was a life coach. This is
Oh,
right up.
Carrie, Harry's Carrie.
Yeah. 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 This is
Got it.
right. This is right up her alley. Yeah. She'd be fantastic.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to just do an email introduction again? Because
Yeah.
it's been a while since she and I chatted.
Yeah. Absolutely. No problem. I'll do it.
Cool.
I'll do it
Anyone
today.
else show up, come to mind for you?
Yeah. If you want business owners?
Yeah, definitely entrepreneurs. I've had top speakers, right? So professional speakers, but they're still entrepreneurs. They're building a business from the ground up. I've had published authors, so you name it.
Okay. Let me think.
Mhm.
Carrie is the first person that comes to mind, but I'll get a few more names for you. Let me think about it today.
Perfect. Sounds
Mhm.
awesome. What can I help you with?
No, this is great. I'm good. I miss you, man. Let's get together. Get
All
lunch if
right.
anything.
Well, you gotta let's put a date and time. Otherwise, it doesn't happen, right?
I
Life
know. I
passes.
know. I know. I agree. I
You and
agree.
I get an extra gray hair here and there.
oh,
You're looking good, bro. I'm just saying.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're
You like the pictures I posted?
Yeah, bro. Like you're looking alive and just like happy. You're looking
Yeah.
happy, man. And I
Thank
remember
you.
when you were, busting your way up. It was like you would come in heavy lots of days.
My goodness. I know.
Yeah. How's it going with the marriage? How's that?
Uh, eh, you
Oh,
know.
okay.
Yeah.
Got
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. 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 So we'll get a cigar one night.
Yeah, yeah, let's
All
do it. And how are your daughters?
right. Fantastic. Little ones loving Christ the King. What a great
That's
school.
great.
I can't say enough good things about that school and the teachers and the families and the kids. So she's just been so welcome there. And, Nick's a great guy, as you know.
Yeah, he is.
Um,
Hey, let
so
me ask you this. What grade is she in?
sixth.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, so they brought me into Christ the King School probably about 2 months ago
Okay.
to speak to the seventh and eighth graders about gifts of the Holy Spirit. And,
Wow.
there's like 12 of them, plus plus there was like more. And I was like, there's no way, because they wanted me to speak in 45-minute classes, 6 classes in a row. And
Oh,
I was like, oh, are you kidding me? And
it's like a full day.
yeah, that was the whole day. And I was like, when God asked me for something, and that's how I saw that, I just say yes. But I came in and I said, there's no way I'm speaking on all 12 in 45 minutes. There's no, I couldn't do it justice. I was like, pick 3. So they picked peace. Talk to the kids about peace, because some of them are just high strung anxiety, stress,
Mhm.
their parents just wanting them sports, all this stuff. So I spoke about that. I forget what the second one was. And then the third one was speak about chastity, because they're all wrestling with hormones right now. This is the age. And I was like, you got it. So,
Wow.
dude, powerful.
Really?
Oh my gosh. I went in, and what makes me good as a speaker, I just go there. I get real and I treat them like adults. And
Wow.
I say, guys, we're going to have a college level conversation. Is that something you're up to? That means no giggling, no immaturity. That means we're going to talk about real serious things. And if you guys are good in that, we'll talk about sex. We'll talk about, and they're like, wow, sex, ooh, right? All
Wow.
the boys lit up and everything. And bro, I just had the conversation. And like I,
Wow.
oh yeah, like I talked about. First, I spoke to the girls. I was like, girls, you have changes going on in your bodies right now, right? Things are happening, and all of a sudden, those annoying boys that they start, now they're kind of cute, and then there's that one that's really cute, and then he's walking over to you, and you're freaking out, and you're like, oh my gosh, he's coming over, he's coming over. I said, well, that little boy has his own set of hormones going on. And
Uh,
unfortunately, right, and it's not a bad thing, but he no longer is going to see you the way you think he's seeing you. Now he sees you as what he can do physically with you and have sex with you.
mm,
And it doesn't make him wrong. It just makes him a boy, right? God created us to procreate and all that, but God wants us to use that in marriage. And here's what's going to happen is, because he's cute, he's going to keep persisting for you to have sex with him. And eventually you're going to say yes, because you want affection. And the way to get affection from a boy is to give him sex, because that's what he wants. And
hmm.
that's when he'll give affection. Unfortunately, boys are not mature. They're not men yet. So he's going to use you. Then he's going to tell his friends about how he used you.
Wow.
And you're kind of like just a checkbox and a trophy. And then he's going to move on to the next girl and leave you a wreck. And you're going to have a broken heart, and you're going to be a mess. And hopefully there's no other physical consequences like a baby or
Right.
anything else. And I want you to know that God has a special plan for your life. And if you're willing to wait, God has a boy who's going to grow into a young man, a godly young man, who will give you that affection for the rest of your life. But you got to wait, and you got to do it in the context of marriage. And the girls were
Wow.
just like,
Joseph, that is phenomenal. Like I was trying to think to myself, how did you tackle that?
right?
That was perfect.
It was insane, dude. And then I turned to the boys. I said, boys, your turn. And I go a little tougher with them, right? Because I am
Yeah.
one of them. And I was like, boys, here's the thing. You got some hormones going on in your body. You got this thing called testosterone that makes you grow into a man. It's like, right? And I said, you're going to start seeing girls in a certain way. And you don't mean to use them, but you're just going to see them as their bodies. And you want to have
Mhm.
sex with them and use them and leave them a wreck. And just know that when you do, those are God's precious daughters. And he's right there in that moment when you're having sex with her. And he's right there watching you mess up and hurt one of his precious daughters. And you better believe your life is going to have consequences when you do that.
Wow.
And I'm not condemning you. I'm just saying God has a perfect daughter for you that's going to grow into a woman and give you the love that you're looking for the rest of your life. And he wants you to wait for her. Right. So, and I went into more with that.
Fantastic. What are the teachers? How was it well received by the teachers that were there?
Yeah. So Nick showed up, and
Ah, okay.
for one of the classes, and he said, I'll sit in for like 15 minutes. He stayed there for 45 minutes, bro, the entire class. His face was like this when I was talking the sex thing. And he came over to me after. He's like, Joseph, I got to tell you, I was squirming in my seat as the principal of the school with all these affluent parents and everything like that when you tackled sex. And he's like, you went deep and dark and like, boom, right there. And then he said, then you brought it back up around. And he's like, that was awesome. Just
Wow.
really well done. And I was like, thanks, bro. That was like, I say a prayer before I go in. Holy Spirit, give me the words. Maybe you that they hear and not me. And then I just surrender to being fully present right there in the moment. And the
Fantastic.
rest is God. So I made a powerful request to the teacher who's in charge of 7th and 8th grade. And she's a good friend. And I said, Dee, tomorrow, can you ask the kids to write a quick on a note card, just answer this question. What did God show you about your life through Joseph's talk?
Yeah.
Right?
And you
So
get
it wasn't about
responses were
Joseph.
incredible.
Dude, 48 7th graders hand wrote
Wow.
what showed up. And my two favorite, little girl Tatiana, age 12, she wrote, today I chose to remain pure until marriage. I was
Wow.
like, done,
Wow.
done.
My goodness.
Bro, because think of that. That could be your daughter.
Right.
And her life just changed right there. And you know that girl's probably got a boy pursuing her right now that's probably been asking her, and she's probably could have been right on the line of saying yes, her whole life changing.
My goodness. That's
And
powerful.
what I realized, bro, is that what's that saying? They say when an object is moving in the same direction, it will keep moving on in the same direction until infinity, unless
Yeah.
it's hit by an opposing
Yeah.
object. We are that opposing object that will shift someone's course of their life.
You're right.
So I
Oh,
just leave you with that, because has given you that same power to do that for your daughters, for your wife, for the people in your circle.
that's fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah, bro.
That's really cool. I wish my daughter could have heard that, but maybe you go back next year when she's a seventh grader.
Well, just so you know, I just recorded this part. So if you want, we could clip it and you could send it to them
Yeah,
or
let's do
not.
it. No, I would. Absolutely.
I love you, bro, and I miss you. And
Yeah,
just shoot me a text or anything anytime you want to grab a cigar or whatever.
you got
Uh,
it, brother.
and thanks for doing this. You did a great job.
Yeah,
As soon as I get this up, it will probably be in January when yours goes up
yeah,
because they're in the pipeline. Just go ahead and send this out to all your networks because I think some of the value that you contributed could really open up some of the lives, for some of your people, especially the God part. And
yeah,
then praying specifically, I think, you know, that was powerful for you in your life, right?
yeah.
And other people are wrestling with stuff right now and they're speaking general prayers and they're not getting specific and they're wondering why God's not answering. So
Absolutely, I agree. Hey man, happy holidays, Merry Christmas.
Merry
And,
Christmas, bro.
thanks
Peace.
for thanks for thinking of me for this.
Absolutely.
All right,
Cheers.
I'll see you, Joseph.
See ya.